Nikos Panou here with the Department of English at Stony Brook University, and this is Lady Mary Wortley Montagu, reposing in oriental comfort towards the end of her life. Born in 1689, Lady Mary married Edward Wortley Montagu in 1712, and when he was appointed ambassador of England to the Ottoman Empire in 1716, she followed him in a long trip through Europe all the way from London to their final destination, Istanbul, the bustling and mysterious capital of the Ottoman East. Sir Montagu was not particularly successful as a diplomat and was recalled to London in 1718, but in the meantime, Lady Montagu had managed to produce a substantial body of letters in which she recorded her experiences and shared her observations on a wide range of events, habits, behaviors, everything she thought worth commenting on with regard to that part of the world. Those letters, copies of which she kept and edited throughout her life, were eventually published in 3 volumes in 1763, a year after her death, with considerable success and a number of subsequent editions, some of which even featured exotic portraits of the Right Honourable authoress. Today, I would like to share with you one of her fascinating letters that, in its own way, is full of confidence and optimism in the face of affliction. Addressed to Sarah Chiswell, a childhood friend, it was written on April 1st, 1717, in Edirne, or Adrianople, as it was known back then, the second most important city in the Ottoman Empire. So here's the beginning of the letter, and I am going to skip the first paragraph. Those dreadful stories you have heard of the plague have very little foundation in truth. I own I have much ado to reconcile myself to the sound of a word which has always given me such terrible ideas, though I am convinced there is little more in it than in a fever. As a proof of this, let me tell you that we passed through 2 or 3 towns most violently infected. In the very next house where we lay, in one of those places, 2 persons died of it. Luckily for me, I was so well received that I knew nothing of the matter, and I was made believe that our second cook had only a great cold. However, we left our doctor to take care of him, and yesterday they both arrived here in good health, and I'm now let into the secret that he has had the plague. There are many that escape it, neither is the air ever infected. I am persuaded that it would be as easy a matter to root it out here as out of Italy and France, but it does so little mischief. They are not very solicitous about it, and are content to suffer this distemper instead of our variety, which they are utterly unacquainted with. Apropos of distempers, I'm going to tell you a thing that will make you wish yourself here. The smallpox, so fatal and so general amongst us, is here entirely harmless by the invention of ingrafting, which is the term they give it. There is a set of old women who make it their business to perform the operation every autumn, in the month of September, when the great heat is abated. People send to one another to know if any of their family has a mind to have the smallpox. They make parties for this purpose, and when they are met, commonly 15 or 16 together, the old woman comes with a nutshell full of the matter of the best sort of smallpox, and asks what veins you please to have opened. She immediately rips open that you offer to her with a large needle, which gives you no more pain than a common scratch, and puts into the vein as much matter as can lie upon the head of her needle. And after that, binds up the little wound with a hollow bit of shell, and in this manner opens 4 or 5 veins. The Grecians have commonly the superstition of opening one in the middle of the forehead, one in each arm, and one on the breast to mark the sign of the cross. But this has a very ill effect, all these wounds leaving little scars, and is not done by those that are not superstitious, who choose to have them in the legs, or that part of the arm that is concealed. The children or young patients play together all the rest of the day and are in perfect health to the 8th. Then the fever begins to seize them, and they keep their beds 2 days, very seldom 3. They have very rarely above 20 or 30 in their faces, which never mark, and in 8 days' time they're as well as before their illness. Where they are wounded, they remain running sores during the distemper, which I don't doubt is a great relief to it. Every year thousands undergo this operation, and the French ambassador says pleasantly that they take the smallpox here by way of diversion, as they take the waters in other countries. There is no example of anyone that has died in it, and you may believe I am well satisfied of the safety of this experiment, since I intend to try it on my dear little son. I am patriot enough to take pains to bring this useful invention into fashion in England, and I should not fail to write to some of our doctors very particularly about it. If I knew any one of them that I thought had virtue enough to destroy such a considerable branch of their revenue for the good of mankind. But that distemper is too beneficial to them not to expose to all their resentment the hardy weight that should undertake to put an end to it. Perhaps if I live to return, I may, however, have courage to war with them. Upon this occasion, admire the heroism in the heart of your friend, etc., etc. Before I leave you, let me just say that upon her return to England, Lady Montagu, who had lost a brother to the smallpox and was herself left pockmarked because of it, did fight hard and was moderately successful in promoting what she calls engrafting, that is, inoculation or variolation, which despite all sorts of resistance, you see a specimen here, was adopted as a way to deal with smallpox, at least until Edward Jenner came up with a safer and more effective weapon, vaccination. As for the lady's dear little son, Edward Whately Montagu Jr., not only did he go through inoculation and survived unscathed, but grew up to be a writer and traveler who led a wildly adventurous life to the end of his days. On this note, hang in there, be well, and all best wishes.